What's going on, guys? I'm Weston Mack, and welcome back to 1 More Minute, the show where each day I get 1 more minute to talk about whatever I want. And then today, we're talking about the very sad TikTok ban. And I know I sound a little sarcastic. That's just how I sound. But also, I am pretty sad about this whole situation. I do want to talk about it. Before we get into it, make sure to like and subscribe and save me from this random white door and hallway. Like, we'll be back to like a regular looking setup. I'm just doing some stuff in my living room right now, and I cannot actually be able to film in there because it's way too loud. Because I'm bad at planning out when I'm 3D printing stuff and also trying to film, so it's a whole thing. Anyways, TikTok. So if you don't know, TikTok is being banned on July 19th, 2025, geez. And it's gonna happen between a mixture of the Supreme Court upholding the fact that it does not violate any sort of amendment or law, and that it will be forced to abide by the law. Congress and the Senate passing the bill that was a part of the TikTok ban, and the current sitting president being like, well, like, I'm not gonna enforce it, but like, yeah, you're gonna get banned. It's over. It's kind of GG's, at least for now, and we'll get into that. But I will say anything that is related to after January 19th is, by anyone, including me, is pure speculation. We know zero about what's going to happen or zero about what's going on. But I do just want to talk a little bit about TikTok and my experience with it and why this is like not amazing. There'll be a little bit of tiny bit of political talk, but not like a ton. But it is also related to a lot of politics. I will say that in general. Anyways, yeah, my experience with TikTok is very, very, very long lasting. I've been with the app since pretty much the inception, even prior to the inception. If you didn't know, basically there was a void missing in the space, or at least the space wasn't fully created until TikTok came around, and that space was extremely short form content. Now, when it came to YouTube, basically the formula had been set. While the current age formula of a lot of big YouTubers is live stream, make a video that's between 10 to 25 minutes long, and then cut up that video into shorts, or cut up your clips that could make it into a video into shorts, and then you link it to your video in your VOD. That's your whole formula. That formula really didn't exist quite as neatly. While there was Twitch VODs or whatever being cut up, it was a lot of standalone videos. And I feel like the standalone stuff was doing better in a lot of cases. But you had Musical.ly at the time. Yes, I'm bringing up Musical.ly, and I had an account with Musical.ly. And at the time, there really was a big hole for very short form content. YouTube obviously didn't have shorts. Instagram didn't have its reels. While you could post little short videos, it wasn't like that was the main thing. So then came along Musical.ly. Now, it had been around for a little bit, as basically Musical.ly was the sort of pseudo replacement for Vine, back when Vine was banned in 2012, or not banned, but killed by Twitter in 2012. It was bought by Twitter and then shut down, if I remember correctly. And then Musical.ly was created. Eventually, Musical.ly would be bought out by ByteDance, and then ByteDance would then forge it into TikTok, basically allowing TikTok to start off with some type of viewer base, or some type of, I almost said player base, a base with actual people in it. Instead of starting off completely from scratch, which is very hard in new media, they started off with an actual base of people. Therefore, they were able to grow very fast. And one of those things, why it grew so fast, was on YouTube, reactionary content has always been popular. But at the time, I remember it being pretty big with like You Laugh, You Lose, and the React channels, like the Fine Bros or whatever, being very large. And so very quickly, a trend of reacting to TikToks became a thing. Because it was already a little cringy to be on Musical.ly, because a lot of times you were like like dancing around to music or a lot, like 99% lip syncing. But the initial push for TikTok, basically the whole thing was creating content couldn't have been easier. Oh gee, am I gonna sneeze? I'm not gonna sneeze. TikTok, making content couldn't have been easier on TikTok. Having I think it was 15-second limit compared to like Vine's like 10-second limit. Basically allowed for people to make content very, very easy. And so therefore, and also Stitches. Stitches was a very early concept also for TikTok, which allowed some of the trends. So first of all, I think one of the biggest music trends on TikTok was Hit or Miss. Hit or Miss was a music-based TikTok where this girl does this little dance wearing like a cheerleader outfit. On the Hit or Miss, I can't remember who created it, but it was from a trendy artist at the time, if I remember correctly. But it became this whole thing where it's just this girl lip syncing and dancing, kind of like Musically, but on TikTok. And then also there was the initial furry versus gamer war, which in my opinion, I think was the first ever major trend on TikTok. That was initial push for TikTok for the majority of 2018 was not very popular people and or communities becoming popular on TikTok. So like gamers and furries, artists that weren't necessarily super popular, like that kind of like group of people. You would normally see it on like YouTube or Tumblr and stuff like that. Was the initial growth of TikTok. TikTok would not be popular with mainstream people until it blew up in mid to late 2019 going into 2020. I joined TikTok right in the middle of Hit or Miss, I believe, at least making content. My first ever TikTok was around then, like definitely in 2018. But I had a Musically account since like 2016, 2017. So I'm a very much old head. If I had any authority talking about TikTok or whatever, I have one of the older accounts on TikTok, just straight up period. And so that initial push of haha funny cringe trend would eventually grow into more people doing more dances and lip syncing and stuff like that, trying to replicate the success of Hit or Miss. The next trend after that, which would eventually lead into TikTok's first major update, in my opinion, was the sign trend. Basically, you had no way to caption videos other than in the description. And there's no like title of a video. You just had the description of the video and that's it. So what you would do is if you wanted to talk in the video, you'd hold up a piece of paper and it would say what you're saying. But it flips the video. Whenever you make a video that is front facing, depending on the app you're using, this app in particular, DJI, actually reflips it so that it looks normal for you guys, but it's actually not normal. But whenever you're watching or doing TikTok stuff, it will flip the video because you're using the front facing camera. So what you would have to do is you'd have to write everything backwards. So whenever you put it up, it would flip it back so you could read it. And that became very, very common for people to make videos and then have to write stuff down and basically use them as captions before captions were eventually introduced into TikTok. And then the last major update prior to 2020 was the text-to-speech, I believe. Text-to-speech became another huge thing. And eventually, actually, the voice would be replaced, I remember, in like early 2020. But those are the last few updates. I think text-to-speech and being able to subtitle your stuff were the two major things that would eventually push TikTok to be successful in 2020. Of course, everything that was not in person blew up in 2020. You, of course, had the major Minecraft boom with PewDiePie pushing that, and being the first person to really lead that charge into the anniversary of Minecraft. You had TikTok blowing up like insane because we had nothing else to do. Of course, you had Bo Burnham blowing up in 2020 because of Inside. There's a lot of different things that I would love to do. Just a video, like just a capture of 2020. I think would be a very neat video. But the thing is with TikTok is the reason why I just want to kind of spell out the origins and just kind of go over it is I've been going through and my entire For You page has been just covered in videos relating to the past of TikTok. One of those trends, being a video where this guy does probably one of the most satisfying dances. I think that's the reason why it went viral, in my opinion. And he does this like dance, and he like it's this whole little thing, and it went viral, and then it became an animation trend, and I think it made it into TikTok as not TikTok, Fortnite as a dance. There's a whole bunch of stuff, but recently his video popped up again, but it wasn't the original. It looked like the original, but it wasn't the original. It was him doing it again, but instead being sort of finale. And I've been seeing people go through and use like the sound of Family Guy where they're all probably gonna die, and he goes, I have one more secret to tell. I wasn't very fond of The Godfather. And people going through and spilling secrets and stuff like that about their own channels, saying who they were. And it really has been like the last week, the final of TikTok, the final of short form content. Now, I don't believe short form content's going away. I think our attention spans has been ruined. But I will say, in my opinion, long form content will become more popular. With the YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels of the world, they're just not very good. The reason why TikTok banned is a big thing in general is because the algorithm change between TikTok and YouTube and Instagram, they're all completely different, with TikTok just being so insanely good. And no, I don't really believe Lemonade or Red Note will be that popular. I think it is a little trendy to jump on those, but I think in the long run, those won't be as nearly successful as YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels. But if TikTok does not exist in the current way it is like right now, short form content will diminish significantly. And I believe the way channels grow will completely change. There's been plenty of channels that have grown purely based off of people posting TikTok posts with Subway Surfers in the bottom while they are yapping or yelling or throwing or whatever. A few of those channels come to mind, like Jinxie. I knew of him before because I've just known about Rainbow Six stuff, but he blew up off of people posting TikTok TikTok clips of him getting mad at people. And then you have Queso, who you'd see tons of compilations making fun of his weight, which is funny. He'd play into it with Trackmania clips below him. I know Speed also blew up a lot, but that's also because Speed's also just a good streamer, in my opinion. I think he's a really cool guy. And then you have who else? There's another streamer. The guy who goes, what's up, brother? Sketch. Jeez, I can't remember his name. There was another streamer who blew up off of TikTok clips. I don't think that's gonna be that possible anymore. I think YouTube, if you say that you're blowing up off of YouTube Shorts, it's not the same as blowing up on TikTok. But do I think there's a potential that TikTok can survive? In my opinion, it has nearly a complete 50-50 shot. 50-50. TikTok does remain banned, and that's it. That's GG's game over. The other 50% is TikTok is unbanned, but is either partially or fully owned by an American company. So either way, TikTok will die on January 19th, in my opinion. Potentially. So what I'm thinking when it comes to the whole buying out, of course, TikTok, as mentioned before, they're never going to sell their algorithm. I don't believe they ever will. So therefore, if it does get bought, it's not going to be the same app. But I think there's going to be an extension. I think there will be a 90-day or 270-day extension or a 1-year extension made by the next president, as he's made some comments relating to possibly unbanning it and wanting to have time to look at the situation. So I'm willing to bet on like January 20th, 21st, post-inauguration, that there will be a executive order saying that, hey, we're going to pause the fact that we're going to enforce the law. We're going to pause this, and I need time to look over this and to make a deal with Congress or the Senate or whoever needs to. But I was not able to fully look into this. The previous president has given me permission and given me time to look over this. Therefore, I want even more time. And I'm going to give myself 90 days to look over this. Therefore, the ban will not go in effect for 90 days. Now, this is kind of like a, trust me guys, to the rest of the world, as Apple and Google and the servers that hold TikTok's information in the US will still be possibly liable. It's not like a foolproof, like we can't do anything about this, because it's just the president saying they're not upholding the law, which anytime they could say, well, we're upholding the law right now, and they might get sued. So it's like that weird kind of gray area. But it's depending on how much they want the money. Hopefully they really are going to be greedy and want the money. We'll see. But I don't know. It's up to the fates of TikTok. And we'll see. If you want to see more content like this, please make sure to like and subscribe. And I will make a follow-up video if we have maybe an unbanning of TikTok or a ban of TikTok. We'll see. But hopefully tomorrow we'll be back in like a normal looking setup. So I'll see you guys next time.